In today's video, I want to talk about a comment that I hear over and over again by people that are often trying to promote the foreskin and leaving a guy intact or uncircumcised. And yet, I feel like this comment is not the best. So let me explain. People have probably heard this comment before, and I've talked about it at some point in the past as well. But it's that comment of, well, when it's erect or hard, it looks just the same. And, well, I think there's some problems with this statement. First of all, it's not true. Okay? That's the bottom line. When a guy who is not circumcised is hard or erect, his penis does not look the same as a guy who is missing part of it, who's missing the foreskin. That's just a fact. Now, it is true that some uncircumcised or intact guys, when they become erect, their foreskin will automatically retract or come back and expose the head of their penis. This is the case for some guys. Not all and not most. Just some. Even these guys whose foreskin retracts, it does not look the same. The foreskin kind of, there's a bunching up of the skin right behind the head or glands of the penis. And there's no scar, as with a guy who's circumcised. That skin is still mobile and flexible and it has a lot of movement to it. So even a guy whose foreskin automatically retracts with erection still does not look like a guy who is circumcised. Now, there are also many of us who are not circumcised who, when we become erect or hard, the foreskin stays covering the head of the penis. You know, the foreskin stays above until you manually pull it back. And this is also, this is like fantastic, wonderful. This is how the foreskin is meant to function. Ideally, the more foreskin you have, the more that it will stay covered. And this is a good thing, that foreskin covering the glands. Even upon erection, it's that foreskin moving across the glands that creates the wonderful feelings that are even better than just the glands itself. Because the glands itself is not where all of the nerves and all of the pleasure reside, unlike what a guy who is circumcised seems to think. Much of it resides in the foreskin and also in that movement of the foreskin over the head. So the ideal is that foreskin can move back and forth over the head. So for guys that have this amount of foreskin and it's a good number, it's not just a small percentage. Some people try to say, oh, well, it's only 10%. No, I'd say it's probably closer to half and half. The foreskin, like I said, when it manually retracts and then it goes back and forth over the head. Now, a guy like this, when he is erect, until he pulls it back, the head is completely covered with the foreskin. Some guys, when they retract, as they get harder and more erect, maybe the foreskin just retracts part way and just half of their head sticks out. These are all variations of normal. And this is what I want to really focus on is we have everything we are supposed to have on our penis. Our penis is made to have foreskin, to function with foreskin. Why do we want to try to belittle that or minimize that by saying, oh, it looks just the same as a guy who's circumcised? It's like, no offense to any of the guys who have been circumcised, but why do we want to look the same as someone who had a part removed? We don't. The foreskin on the penis looks great. And that's how it's supposed to look. People have messed with that and taken away something that's supposed to be there. They've changed how it's supposed to look. So why do we want to try to say, oh, well, we look just the same as a guy who's, had part of his removed? Why would we want to do that? No, we have foreskin. It looks different, and we should be proud that it looks different. We should be happy about that. Again, like I said, it's devastating to many guys who have had it stolen from them without their consent, as is done with every man and boy who's been circumcised as an infant. It was done without their consent and without their express permission. And so this is, and people that realize this, are devastated by this loss, and it's truly a very sad and terrible thing that they have had this taken from them without their permission. But those of us that are lucky enough to have it, we need to speak out and promote how great it is. Not only that it feels wonderful, but it also looks wonderful. It doesn't look weird, or it doesn't look abnormal or something like that. So, let's not tell people, oh, it looks just the same, or it looks just about the same. No. A guy who is not circumcised, like myself, it looks different than a guy who is circumcised. But this is how it's supposed to look. This is, a good thing. Why do we want to look like we have part missing when we don't have a part missing? So no, be proud. An uncircumcised penis is a penis that is intact. It is whole. It is entire. It has everything it is supposed to have. So it looks different, and it's supposed to.